Hello, everybody. This is Mr. Storm, and welcome to week three of HTML5 application development. We are going to focus this week on improving our text adventure game, making it look super awesome by, creating some more sophisticated game logic for our application. We want to be able to handle any problems that our users might throw at us, and we want to be able to make the game a little bit more fun and interactive. So what we're going to do now is let's take a look at what we've already built and just get a good idea of how this game works. So first of all, we have our HTML5 section up here. These are three HTML uh, elements that are going to allow us to see our game on the screen. And then we have our script section, which has all of our JavaScript code in it. And inside of that, we have a mystery number that's set to be equal to 50. We have a player guess variable. We tie our input variable to the input field, or the input field here in our HTML. We tie our output field or variable to be tied to the output paragraph up here in our HTML. We have our button, which is tied to our button on our HTML, and we set the cursor to a pointer, and we set the event listener to call up a function called event handler. We have our player guess is parsed from the input so that it turns into a number. We have our player guess equal to. We check to see if our player guess is equal to a mystery number. If it is, then we won. If it's lower than, or if it's greater than our mystery number, we say it's too high. And if it's lower than, we say our guess is too low. So this game works just like this. So let's refresh it just to make sure. I have a mystery number. If I enter 50 and click guess, then it says we won. If I enter 25 and click guess, it says it's too low. If I type 75 and click guess, it says too high. Now, one problem that you probably have already recognized with the game is that this number is always going to be 50. There's no way to change this number. Well, let's actually change it right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to use something called a random, right? And so for this mystery number, we're going to set this to be equal to math.floor, okay, and math.random, open and close parentheses, times 100. That's essentially going to pick a random number between 0 and 100, and it's going to pop that number into this mystery number variable. So let's save the game and give it a shot. Let's check to see if 50 is still our mystery number. It's not. Okay, so now we have a different number, and it's telling us that 50 is too low for our mystery number. So we need to figure out whether or not it is, we need to find the actual number. So let's say 75. 75 is still too low. Let's say 90. 90 is too low. Let's say 99. 90 is too high. So 95. 95 is too high. So let's try 92. Hey, I won, I found it, right? And just to make sure that this number changes every time, let's go ahead and try 92 this time. Again, so okay, so now it's a different number. It's not 92. So now our game is randomly picking a number between 0 and 100, and it's putting it in our screen. So now we actually have some fun interactivity that we can play around with. Cool. All right, so what's the next thing we want to handle? Well, let's do something easy. Um, I don't know about you, but when I'm playing a game online or when I'm, playing around with websites, I want to be able to hit the enter key to hit the button, right? Especially if there's only one button on the screen. So let's figure out how to do that. What we need to do is we need to add an event listener to the window itself. So let's do window dot add event listener, okay, LASTEN. All right, good. I just want to make sure I spelled it correctly. And we're going to set it to key down, and we are going to call the click handler, and we'll set that to false. So basically what I've done is I've just added a new event listener. Instead of the button event listener, it's going to be a window event listener. And it's going to listen for a key down. Let's go ahead and save that. And when we go back to our game, I can enter in something and oh my gosh, what happened? Okay, 7. Oh. So here's the problem. Now my window is only looking for a specific, or it's not looking for a specific key, it's just looking for any key whatsoever. If any key is pressed, then it's going to automatically run the code, and that's not what we want, because we want to be able to put in our guess and then hit enter so that our guess will then get sent to our game. So what we need to do is we actually need to create a new method or new function. And the new function we want to create is called key down handler. So let's create a function called key down handler. Now again, you can call your function whatever you want. This is just the name that makes sense to me. So a key down handler, and we're actually going to pass it an argument called event. All right, and inside this function, we're going to say if event.keycode is equal to 13. Now what this means is that our key code is going to, or our key code is whatever the code for the key that we pushed on our keyboard. And it just so happens that the key code for the enter key is 13. And what we're going to do when that happens is we are going to call the click handler method. So this will only pass to the click handler method if we click the button, or actually no, we need to do one more thing. We want to take this window add event listener and we want to actually change that to key down handler. So it actually calls our key down handler event instead of our click handler. So when we click a button on the keyboard, it's going to call this key down handler event. And if that key code is 13, meaning the enter key, then it will call the click handler event for us. So let's go ahead and save this and see if that actually works. So I'll refresh. I'm going to type in my guess. Notice it's not calling that event, which is good. That's what we're looking for. And I'm going to hit enter. And I'm going to hit and I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to hit enter and it's not working. Interesting. I love troubleshooting while I'm making a video. Very quickly, let me take a look at my code here and see what I might have missed, see what I might have done wrong here. Event event, event event. If key code equals 13, then we will call click. Oh, I spelled the click handler function wrong. handler. I forgot the L. So it's not actually calling that function, which is the problem. So let's go back here and refresh and type in 50, enter. And it works. I am the smartest man alive. All right. So that just goes to show you that sometimes even I can make mistakes. Your most experienced programmer in the world can make mistakes. You know, you just have to be careful when you're typing this stuff out. Pay attention to what you're doing. Now, one thing about using CodeWriter is that it didn't actually notice my mistake and debug it for me. That's the problem with CodeWriter, is that it doesn't have a debugger in the system for us. After this project, we're going to move on to a better um, IDE, or integrated development environment, for creating these games. So if you're getting frustrated, if you keep making mistakes and you can't figure out how to fix them, then we will actually move on to something better after this project. So just bear with me through this first one. I just wanted to use an environment you were already comfortable with. Alrighty. So now we have, we can press the enter key and it will actually bring in our guess. So far, everything's pretty good, right? We're doing some pretty good stuff here. But let's say we wanted to have a certain amount of chances before the game is over, right? Or let's say we wanted to display. Let's just say we want to display how many times it took the user to get to their preferred guess, right? Or to get to the right thing. So what we could do is we could actually set up in our variables here. Oh, did I go too far? I went too far. Yeah, right here. So in our variables here, we can set a new variable called number of guesses, right? And we'll set that equal to 0 at the beginning. And what we'll do is just every time this click handler function is called, we will set number of guesses to increase by 1. Basically, number of guesses plus plus. And then whenever they win, we can say, sorry, you won. It only took you number of guesses oh okay, so now whenever they win, there's going to be a number of guesses number that's going to be displayed there whenever we win. So let's go ahead and save that and try the game to see if it actually works the way we want it to. So I'm going to say my number is 50. Enter. My guess is too low. Okay. Let's do 75. Enter. My guess is too high, so it's between 60 or 50 and 75. Let's try 63. Guess is too high, so let's try 57. Guess is too high. Let's try 53. Guess is too low. 54. Guess is too low. 55. Hey! And look, it tells me it only took me 7 guesses to find the actual correct answer. So that's pretty cool. Now we actually have a functioning game, something that will work every time we refresh this page. We get a new number to guess. We get a little variable that tracks how many guesses we're making. We get the ability to hit enter. At this point, we have a fully functional game. It is good to go. So keep playing around with this, see what improvements you can make to it. This click handlers and events and all this stuff, this is the kind of stuff that's going to maybe drive you nuts if you don't really try to understand what it means or what we're doing. Just kind of trace yourself through the program. So add event listener, key down, it'll pull up this key handler event. So let's go to the key handler function here. Okay, so that's okay. So just trace yourself through the program, make sure you understand the logic, because it's only going to get more complicated from here. So that's it for me. I will see you next time. Thank you for paying attention.